Boys Under the Hood with James Stevenson and Pat.
Well, yeah, try to clown. I never pipe down if they weren't coming.
I don't know where you find these songs.
Well, I mean, because Boys Under the Hood, right? Like the hood, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? Hey.
You nailed it.
James Stevenson, what's going on, man?
Not much, dude.
Nice to have you back. James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair in West Springfield.
Pat, it's the season of giving, and I wanted to get you something. So I got you something a little special. Here's banana milk.
Oh, get out of here!
It's chocolate banana milk, and then just regular old banana milk. Man, we spent a lot of time talking about it.
Where do you get this stuff?
Supermarket. Dude, it's gonna change your life.
Hold up.
It's gonna absolutely change your life.
You got some cups too.
Of course I do.
Would you like some right now?
Absolutely.
What do you want, the chocolate or the banana?
Both. Little mix.
You want to mix them both? I'm gonna go with the chocolate one.
Yeah, if you haven't had this this banana milk, it's absolutely life altering.
I don't mind if we just quick do this on the radio. Okay. So, Boys Under the Hood. We're answering car questions, and you can submit them anytime at Lazer99.3.com, or you can log on to the Precision Auto Repair Facebook page and submit your questions there. Maintenance, repair, we don't care.
I don't think anybody's ever had banana milk on a radio show before.
This is the first time I've ever poured a liquid live on the radio. I didn't spill any of it. Here you go. That's the chocolate.
Happy holidays,
That's the
bud.
chocolate. Happy holidays, man. Thanks. Cheers, James. So how's things? How's everything going?
Good. Good. Let's get on to some of these questions, man. It's good, isn't
Wait
it?
a minute. If you added ice to this and put it into a blender, that'd be like a banana-y chocolate milkshake right there.
It's phenomenal. If you're listening, you need to get some banana milk in your life.
And you've got the chocolate banana milk as well.
Yes.
Oh my God. All right. Let's just not do the segment and drink banana milk in here. Okay, so let's get right to it. Our first question comes from Jeff, who lives in Westfield. He drives a 2003 Explorer. His question is, last week you were asked about when someone should get rid of their car. My wife's car is in need of some big repairs. I normally just fix this stuff, but with Christmas coming and the four-wheel drive not working, I've gotten a little frustrated. Once I fix something, something else goes. And then you ask what's been done in the past, and he says all sorts of stuff. Ball joints, brakes, wiper blades, some emission stuff for inspection, one tire, and a partridge in a pear tree. That's a great way to put etc. What do you think, James?
If you haven't thought about lighting your car on fire and shoving it down a hill, then it's probably, you probably still got a little bit more life there. Well, that may be an extreme, a very extreme example. It's all about you. It's all about your threshold. Some people want to spend thousands on their car, and some people really only want to spend $1. I know we touched on this a couple weeks back. It stinks to hear that every time you go in for a repair, you have something major repaired, you put your trust in that shop, and then something else breaks. Right. While the reality is that sometimes that stuff just happens, you want to be sure that when you are purchasing a larger auto repair, where you're realizing that you're maybe at your threshold. Pat, if you say that you want to put only $2,000 more into your truck, and that's it, and then you would get rid of the vehicle. If you came into me, I said, you know what, Pat, you need A, B, and C done to your truck. It's going to cost you $1,800. And you say, you know what, that's under my $2,000 threshold. I'm willing to go ahead and do that work. We go ahead and do that work.
Right.
A week later, you start driving, and you're like, you know, I hear this other noise, and you bring it back to the shop, and I say, well, yeah, Pat, I mean, you know, you got these other issues going on. Would you be upset that I didn't tell you about the other issues, right? Because you put your trust in me to check out the vehicle.
Right, yes.
You can't expect a customer to purchase something unless they're, I guess you can't ethically expect a customer to purchase something unless they're making a very informed decision, right? And if they knew how to do the job, they wouldn't need us, right? Mechanics in general. Whatever shop that you bring these repairs to, if you're at that threshold, it's probably going to cost you a minimal investment, maybe $100 or $200, to have somebody take a look at that vehicle thoroughly, diagnose your problems, and then take a good look all around at that vehicle and let you know what you're up against. If that's not happening at the shop that you're at, we've talked about it many times, there are a lot of really, really good shops in the area. Obviously ours is amazing, but there's a lot of really, really good shops, you know, in the area aside from us. And you know, happy to make that recommendation or tell you offline how to find a lot of good shops. But you just want to make sure that somebody checks this thing out for you thoroughly, so that way you can make an informed decision. I understand you're frustrated, and it's the holiday season, and you don't want to spend money on that thing, but sometimes it's going to be cheaper to keep the vehicle and then try to find a better vehicle for you rather than just being forced into, you know, jumping into another vehicle right away when it's just not, like, it's just not feasible for you to do that.
And
right
also,
now.
like, you know, a lot of that, you know, another vehicle often means another payment coming up on the holiday, you know, so that's
well, you're gonna have payments, or you're gonna have repair bills. You know, you're gonna get all this stuff that goes along with it. You know, they're gonna try to sell you a warranty that you probably shouldn't buy unless it's, you know, a factory warranty or a certified pre-owned. That's good. You know, you've got your insurance down payment, your down payment for the vehicle, all that stuff. So you're gonna have to come up with some cash either way, or you're gonna find yourself upside down in the vehicle, and when that one starts needing repairs and you want to dump that one too, you're not gonna be in a very equitable position. So we're getting a little bit off topic there, but you know, just bring it somewhere, have them take a look at the vehicle so that you can make an informed decision. Right now, you're looking at just the issues you have, and that's great, but those may be the only issues, or it may be a very easy decision for you to make because you may need thousands and thousands in repairs, and it's just not feasible.
You know what I love? You're like the guest that reels himself in. You know, usually I'm the one that has to move stuff along, but you're like, you know, we're getting a little bit off topic, so let's get back to what we were talking about.
I'm trying to give you time to drink your banana milk.
You can enjoy the banana milk too. Don't think for a second that you have to, you know, talk the whole time. You can take a pause if you want and drink it.
Isn't that life changing? Can you at least admit that?
It has definitely changed my life. I mean,
wait till you have the other one.
I'm gonna put the other one on ice later. Can't wait for it. My life is so pathetic. Banana milk has turned my life around.
All right. You had some comedian on the other day, and I was driving to work, and he was absolutely hilarious. And I'm sitting there thinking about it. I said, you know, when I go on the show, I'm just not like a funny guy. Like, I'm funny to my 2-year-old because I make like fart noises and stuff. Like, that's the extent of my jokes. He was really, really good.
Well, I mean, he had that Gene Simmons thing down the whole time.
Gene Simmons thing was amazing.
Did you hear him call Lenny and ask him for a raise for me?
Phenomenal. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
I can't even do it. I can't even do the impression of him doing the impression. You can submit your car questions, anything, maintenance, repairs, at Lazer99.3.com. We're also on the Precision Auto Repairs Facebook. Casey from West Springfield, driving a 1993 Ford Mustang, and writes, "Hi, I'm looking for some performance options for my Fox body Mustang. Recently a friend bought a really nice gray 68 Camaro and did some work. Now it's pretty fast. I need to up my game to lay the smackdown this spring. Can you make some recommendations on what I can do to whoop that Camaro? Thanks, brah."
That's hilarious. You know why? I know this kid, Casey Fuller. He's a real good kid. They're very, him and his brother are very competitive. They're Mustang guys, and he's actually picking on my Camaro. I built a 68 Camaro this year, and they're trying to poke some fun at me. But Casey, there is a 0% chance that your wife is going to let you buy that car. Like,
Stop it right there.
Yeah, we don't even have to answer the question. We just go on to the next one. This is never going to happen. And there's a 0% chance that you're going to buy one that's going to beat my Camaro anyways. So, but with any performance project, you're going to want to think about, like, it's a lot of planning. So you want to think about what you're going to do with it. Are you going to, do you want a car that's really cool because you and your wife want to go to dinner and you just want a nice looking car that kind of sounds cool, rides okay? Do you want to keep it stock? Do you want to keep a classic look? Are you looking to drag it? You want a track car? Do you want a show car? All that stuff, right? Once you figure out what your end game is there, then you need to sit down and really figure out a plan. The problem with these cars is that they get out of control quick. So another one of the first things that you're going to do, right, probably the second thing that you're going to do is you're going to sit down and figure out a budget.
Yes.
If you figure out that budget, you're going to triple it and then hope that you stay within that budget. Because anybody that's listening that's built a car can tell you that your plans quickly go out the window because you add this one little thing, but this other thing would be really cool to go with that, and so on. The problem that you can run into is that when you start moving along with this project, things happen, right? Maybe all of a sudden you don't like the way this part looks, or you don't like the way that this one handles, and you end up going back. So that's why there's a lot of planning that goes into this. Talk to the vendors that you're purchasing stuff from. You know, get a rep at any of these companies. If you're spending $10, they'll still give you a rep. If you're spending $10,000, you get a rep too. Tell them what you're doing and then work with them. Like, that's all they do all day long. This may be your first project that you're trying to build out. Let them know what your goals are, and you know, let them help you kind of develop that plan, and talk to a lot of people. But the more planning that you do, the happier you're going to be at the end. But you know, just have some fun with it. You know, some of the stuff that I guess is really, really cool too doesn't even get planned. It just kind of happens in the moment. But I personally really like to create a plan so I don't waste a lot of money. and time doing it. But there's no way that Casey's going to get this car.
Let me ask you this.
There's no way.
When you were putting together your Camaro, and I don't want like a dollar amount, but what was the difference between your initial budget and how much you ended putting into it?
Like a lot.
Okay.
If
your wife was listening, we don't. But so you were right on your budget. You came under budget.
Way under budget.
Way under budget.
Yeah, Nicole,
Okay.
if Nicole's listening, if you turn off the radio, but I think maybe like 2.5 times over budget.
Okay.
But what happened was I started with one plan, and then as I started moving along, I decided that I wanted to, like I thought I was buying a different car than I got. So when I purchased the car, I had never seen it, and we sent it off to a body shop before I even saw it. They painted the car, they sent it over. So the first time I saw the car, it was done in terms of body work, right? Because we don't do body work. And there's a lot of great body shops in the area, but I used one in particular. So when they shipped the car in, the car wasn't in the condition that they said it was. The engine wasn't the quality that they said it was, the suspension, the bushings, all that stuff. So as I started doing 1, 2, 3 little things that, had been in my plan, what ultimately ended up happening was I had to go a lot deeper because the car was kind of a toilet, and it wasn't supposed to be. So I ended up going over budget for that.
Okay. Well, you backed out of that one nicely. Very nice.
Yeah, we're very happy with the way it came out. But the cars are always a work in progress too. Never think that you're just gonna be done with it. They're a hobby. It takes a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of love.
We're talking to James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair in West Springfield. Boys under the hood. Freddie writes in and he said he just got his first Subaru. Is there anything I should do differently now that I own an all-wheel drive car? So it's his first all-wheel drive car. What should he be doing different driving?
You could have more fun in the snow. That's
one. As long as you're not in front of me, that'll coming
yeah,
my way.
Yeah, there you go. All-wheel drive vehicles are just a little bit more complex. Not a lot. They have more gears, right? So they drive the front wheels and the back wheels, where most cars will drive either the front or the rear. So they'll have drive shafts and things like that to be able to send the power. You just want to make sure that those things are getting serviced, right? So you're going to follow your factory manual, right, in your glove box. And if you don't have that, our shop or somebody else's shop can get that information to you so that you know when you're supposed to service that, regularly, right? Because there's fluids in all of these what are called differentials, and four-wheel drive vehicles will have transfer cases, and then some vehicles get a little bit more complex with torque vectoring and all kinds of weird stuff. But we're not gonna get into all that.
So let me ask you something about all-wheel drive cars, and this is something I have no idea. Are they always driving an all-wheel drive, or do they sense what the conditions are and then kind of make that happen?
It really depends on the vehicle. So some will put more power to the rear wheels or the front wheels based on slippage and actual conditions in the road. The all-wheel drive vehicles are really smart. The technologies are incredible now. They don't let you skid around corners, right? Because they apply brakes and take away gas and all that stuff. A lot of them are very, very complex. The thing is that, Freddie, you're not really going to know that there's a problem with any of that stuff until maybe a light turns on or something. So it'll just kind of be business as usual in terms of you driving the vehicle, but just when a light comes on, make sure you get it into the shop, because small problems that go unfixed can become much larger, much more expensive problems. And that's when somebody says, well, I had a Subaru before, but it stinks. The thing was always in the shop. Well, you probably drove it 2 years without a repair bill and then never serviced it, never maintained the vehicle, and then all of a sudden, everything starts breaking. One of the things, too, that a lot of people call and ask is that all-wheel drive vehicles, when they have a tire that goes bad, do they have to replace all 4 tires? Because you've got a vehicle, say the tires have 30,000 miles on them, and they're 50% or 60% worn. You can't put one new tire, right? If you hit a curb and you pop a tire, you can't put one new tire on the, say, right front, because what happens is the outside diameter of the vehicle, right, of the tire needs to be ultimately the same.
Right.
And a difference there is going to change the rolling speed of that wheel, right?
So even
larger,
even that tiny little bit of a new tire, it's not even like a 32nd of an inch would change that?
A 32nd, no, because you're going to have a little bit of variance, but anything more than that, yeah, you want to, I kind of am caught with my pants down because I don't know the exact spec, but a 32nd of an inch probably isn't going to be all that that detrimental, but anything more than that,
Right.
You unfortunately have to replace all 4 tires when your tires are worn, because what happens is, it changes the rolling rate of the wheel because the diameters of the tires are different. And then from there, it causes issues with the gearing, right? Because one wheel's trying to spin a little bit faster than the other.
Yep,
and
that
you're
makes
driving
sense.
down the highway, right? Because anybody that has a like a 4-wheel drive, like a pickup truck or something,
Right.
sometimes the vehicles will be in 4-wheel drive on dry pavement. Somebody pushed the button, somebody turned the knob, or whatever it would be. And as they try to turn, say to pull out of a parking space or a parking lot, you'll notice this binding, this locking up. The wheels are meant to slip a little bit, right? So if it was in 4-wheel drive, you'd have snow and you don't notice that. You can turn it all the way to a lock and it wouldn't be a problem. But on dry road, there's just not going to be that slippage, and it'll cause those gears to bind up. Well, that's an extreme example. It's kind of the same thing that happens when you have different sized tires on the vehicle, and also different tread patterns, right? Because they'll have different rolling resistance on the road. So you want to make sure that all 4 of your tires on any vehicle are matching, right? But if you have a front wheel drive vehicle and you've got 2 bad tires because maybe you haven't rotated them properly or something, or you just bought the car like that, it's okay to put 2 different tires on, or 2 new tires on, but just try to make sure that they're all the same tread pattern. It'll cause alignment issues and drivability issues, noise issues, all kinds of stuff. But all-wheel drive, those tires all have to be the same and relatively the same age, and then maintained, so by bouncing and rotating them.
And I guess to give a kind of a drastic example of it, if anyone's ever driven on a donut, you change your tire,
Yeah.
and you've got one tire that's a donut, and then the other 3 are the same.
Yeah.
You'll feel that pull, right?
Well, those are meant for minimal distance too, and most of them say it right on there. And you'll see people sometimes, and they're driving around for weeks, months, still on that donut. And I can understand hardships and everything, but again, just like we said a few minutes ago, or I said a few minutes ago, one issue that's small, if it goes unrepaired for a period of time, it can really cause 2, 3, 4, 5 issues, and so on. So where maybe it was going to be a $60, $70 tire that you had to replace, all of a sudden it now becomes an issue with the transmission or something. I'm giving a very extreme example, but these things unfortunately happen. We had a vehicle in the shop recently. They had one of the pulleys for one of the belts was bad. It was making a lot of noise, and they never went to get it fixed. So as the noise began to get louder and louder and louder, they just continued to ignore it. They thought it was just a belt and it was no big deal, and if it broke, it broke.
Just a belt.
Well, the problem was that while that belt was making a lot of noise, right, because that pulley was bad, there's something called a timing belt behind it. And the pulleys that kind of run along the timing belt, right, help guide the timing belt, were also bad. And they're behind this cover, and they're making a lot of noise, and they didn't hear it because this one exterior pulley was so loud. One of those pulleys inside the engine locked up, snapped the timing belt, and it essentially destroyed their engine.
Wow. So the one problem was actually disguising the bigger problem.
It was disguising the bigger issue. It's not that it created the second issue or anything. It was just disguising it. So it's like some people say, well, do I need to fix my check engine light? No, I mean, some issues you don't necessarily need to fix because they're not going to cause your car to break down or anything. But if that light comes on for a very relevant reason, are you going to know, right? The light doesn't double come on. It just stays on.
Right.
You know what I mean? It doesn't, you know what I mean? Sometimes it'll flash, and that'll tell you really need to pull over right away, but the light doesn't like double come on. Like, you don't get 2 check engine lights. You have one light.
Mine gives me a heads up. It starts blinking, and then when it goes to full on, and it tells me when I need to get my oil changed.
Yeah.
It's like every 5,000 miles or something like that.
Yeah, you'll have just a normal, like a service or a maintenance light. I'll have little wrenches, or it'll say, maintenance required. These lights, they don't turn on twice. They just stay on. So if you have one issue, and you're like, yeah, I know about it, well, maybe you have more issues. So that it's always a good reason to have that stuff at least checked, or if not repaired. And most check engine lights are minor, and people get scared, or they get scared.
Oh, it's
and
the engine. The engine's bad.
Exactly, and they start going online and they start looking at the forums and they start, like going to WebMD because you've got a knee ache, right? All of a sudden you've got some type of major illness.
Right.
But it's just. Make sure that you maintain your vehicle. You only have really a few more things in there, Freddie, in terms of the, I think he said it's an all-wheel drive car. It was a Subaru. Yeah, I mean, you've got, differentials and things. So a few more things just to service. Those are really, really good cars. Head gaskets on those vehicles tend to go bad almost frequently. Other than that, I mean, you you'll have no problem getting a real long life out of that vehicle. They're really, really great cars. We service a lot of those Subarus.
You're listening to the Boys Under the Hood. James Stevenson from Precision Auto Repair. We got another question. Can you stick around for a sec, James?
Yeah.
We'll be right back with more Boys Under the Hood.
Boys Under the Hood with James Stevenson
Hey.
and Pat
Hey, I'm over here on this side of town. Come on over here and try to clown.
You like my dance there? Oh, God, I forget that we're being recorded. You better edit that part out.
No, it's
that
all
better not be on Facebook.
staying on there. You can't edit
What's going on, James? Hey.
Hey.
Okay, so let's just quickly reiterate the chocolate banana milk will change your life.
It is. It's,
Okay, that's, I mean,
Yeah.
of all the things that we've talked about here, that's probably the most important message, right?
I took a sip of that and I immediately saw like rainbows and unicorns behind you.
So good. Okay, we're taking car questions. We got one more. You can submit your car question on Precision Auto Repair's Facebook page, which a lot of today's questions, all of them except for one, were through Facebook.
Yes.
So you can contact James through Facebook, or you can also log on to lazer99.3.com and submit it there.
We get a lot of messaged over questions through Facebook too. That's fine. A lot of people will just say that they feel silly asking a question, right? Because it may be an obvious answer, or what they may think is an obvious answer, so they feel silly or dumb. Don't feel dumb. Just ask. If you feel more comfortable just messaging us or putting it through the website too, do that. It doesn't. As long as you get your question in and we're able to answer it for
Well,
you. That's great.
they know how dangerous Facebook can be. So, sometimes if you put up any comment, there's always somebody ready to climb you up and down, right?
It's incredible the courage people have behind their phones sometimes.
Okay, we got one more. This is a Facebook question from Michael. Are there any additives that I should be using with my synthetic on my Porsche Cayenne? That's a nice car.
Yeah, it's a real nice car. I personally don't and generally advise against people using additives. Reason being is that I've been to a lot of different trainings, a lot of different fancy schools and all that stuff, right, to be better at what I do and learn a lot of stuff about this industry, right, because you always want to get better. If you're not growing, you're dying. So a lot of these classes will focus on just general maintenance too. And there's a lot of studies, and they just say that a lot of the additive stuff, it's just kind of a waste of time and money and energy, and it's just kind of a gimmick. Some of it actually creates bigger problems, right? It'll say, well, if you put this additive in, your oil's going to last 20, 30,000 miles or something like that. People use the additive and they don't service their vehicle, right? Well, your vehicle's going to burn oil over time, and then two, those additives, while some may be okay, they break down. So for a person that is buying a $10 additive and thinks that they don't have to change their oil for 30,000 miles, they end up with a very serious problem, right? They just purchased themselves a blown engine for $10. Does that make sense?
Right.
Right, when they should have just properly maintained their vehicle.
Too good to be true kind of thing.
Exactly, and common sense tells you if it's too good to be true, it generally is. This Porsche Cayenne, it takes a synthetic oil. Oils are formulated with kind of an additive pack in there anyways, so it's going to help lubricate, it's going to help protect, it's going to help clean the internals of the engine, stay nice and cool, right? The synthetic oil, it doesn't break down as easily as some of the other oils. It's just a really, really good oil. So in short, Michael, I personally wouldn't recommend using any type of additive in your Porsche Cayenne's oil system. That may be just me, right? There's other people that would argue the other point. If we're going to service your vehicle, we're not using additives. We're just going to make sure that you follow, again, the manufacturer's recommended maintenance schedule and use the right oil, use the right products, right? Good quality stuff. And by doing that, it's going to ensure that you're going to have a happy, healthy vehicle, right? And you'll be a happy guy because you're not going to have to have any major internal engine failures caused by, right, lack of oil or oil problems or anything like that. Some additives like Slick 50 and stuff like that, I think there's a couple other ones out there. People seem to really love them. I don't know. I just don't like them. But on the flip side, if someone was to advocate for using additives, I don't know, they say that they can help reduce friction and improve gas mileage and everything. I've never seen an independent study that really showed that. It doesn't mean there isn't one out there. I'm sure somebody's screaming at the radio now saying that there is.
I've been using Slick 50 or 20.
I
I've changed my oil in 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I do this every single day of my life. We want to make sure that our customers have the best experience and
Right.
the best vehicles. I've just the expense, right? Even if it's $8-10 for an additive, the expense is not like I just haven't seen enough proof that's overwhelming to make me want to use any of that additive for even if it's $8 or $10 or I rely on servicing the vehicle as it's meant to be serviced, right? Porsche built that vehicle. They say, hey, look, at these intervals, we need to service the vehicle, and this is what you need to do. Great. Then it's our job to educate the customer, and that's what we do really at this show, right? We educate anybody listening, right? These are the things that you should do and shouldn't do, and so on. And you know, from day one and until forever, I'll continue to just say, if you properly maintain your vehicle, right, regularly, and have a professional do it. And if not, then just make sure you really do your research and know what you're looking at, because an oil change and regular service isn't just about, well, let me drain the oil and let me replace the filter and fill up the washer fluid. There's a lot of checks that need to be done periodically, right? You drive down the road, how many bumps did you hit this morning, right? In another couple weeks or a month, when we start getting some snow and they start plowing, how many bumps are you going to hit where you're like, oh, shoot, like that was a big one, right?
Oh, yeah.
What do you think that stuff does to your car? Right, it beats up on things, it breaks things. So, you know, sometimes vehicles do break even with normal scheduled maintenance. But if you're having somebody that really knows what they're doing, or if you really know what you're doing and you know all the things that you need to check, it helps soften the blow, right? Because you're not coming in saying, you know what, James, my wheel fell off the car. And again, that's a very drastic example, but you know, my wheel fell off the car. You'd come in and say, you know what, maybe I noticed this noise, or hey, you know what, I'm just in for regular maintenance, and you know, we check it out and we say, hey, look, you know, this ball joint's bad, or this tie rod or something, you know, normal wear and tear stuff, because
right.
it does go bad, but at least that stuff gets spotted. And then sometimes you don't need to do it now, so that the shop would create a plan for you. Hey, Pat, you know, it's great that you're in for your oil change today. You know, this thing is starting to go bad, but you can do it in 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, and so on. Hey, this time next year, you're definitely going to be looking at brakes, and help them, not help them, but allow them to create a plan for you. You know, sometimes things are always needed right then and there, but you know, other times just make sure that they have a plan for you. But with this, I wouldn't use the additive. I wouldn't use it in that Porsche. We service a lot of those. We never use any additives. We just service them on time, following that manufacturer's scheduled maintenance schedule.
It's nice having you drop by again today, James.
No problem, dude.
You're very helpful. And saving people money, which I love, by the way. It's nice to have an expert talking about this
Yeah,
stuff.
thanks, man. I enjoy it.
I will enjoy the banana milk and the chocolate banana milk. The banana milk can't be better than the chocolate banana milk.
It's pretty life-changing.
Is it?
It's good, dude.
Are they close?
I mean, if you like chocolate, then the chocolate banana one's good. I prefer the chocolate banana one, but the other one it's Sir Bananas. I mean, you can't give it a name Sir Bananas and not have it be really good.
You can submit your... What kind of reasoning is that? You can't name it Sir Bananas and not have it be good.
Anything with Sir before it is really good. Proper.
Sir James Stevenson joining us today. We'll be back next Tuesday for Boys Under the Hood. You can submit your questions at lazer993.com or submit them on the Precision Auto Repairs Facebook. And if you feel weird about splashing it right out there in public, definitely message them, because no one likes to look dumb, which you probably don't believe because I'm on the radio. But please submit your questions, and we'll be back with more Boys Under the Hood next Tuesday. James, let's talk to you in a while.
Thanks, Pat.